We are back with the national briefing, and one of the main concerns of pretty much all Americans right now, gas prices. But no state in the United States is more concerned than the formerly great state of California, where gas prices are just unbelievably high. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual problem in California. We'll start off with a surprising fiscal conservative. I had not recognized Miss Sunny Hostin from The View as such a fiscal conservative, but she recently let that be known as she was discussing. She's concerned about the cost of the war, and she's very concerned about the cost of gas prices.
It could cost the American people more than $200 billion. To eradicate homelessness in this country, it would only cost $20 billion. So while using this money to wage a war, which is a regime change war, which he said he wouldn't do it, the people that voted for him wanted America first, put America first, and homelessness.
Yes, America first.
Why are gas prices in California $8 a gallon?
It's going up.
And it's going up.
It's going up.
Oh, yeah, you can hear Joy Behar. It's going up. It's going to even be worse in California. This is a horrible thing. And I didn't know that we could eradicate homelessness. I guess she was just talking about California, right? She wasn't talking nationally. You could eradicate homelessness. It would not be there at all for just $20 billion. And I don't mean to minimize just $20 billion, but for $20 billion, what a great investment if we could just get rid of homelessness. But this says that since 2019, California spent $29.5 billion on homelessness, and the problem has compounded, like tripled, just since 2019. Maybe it's just $20 billion more. Maybe that's what it was. The almost $30 billion. Then you put another $20 billion, and then that would fix it. Okay, maybe that's what she meant. I don't know. But we'll continue because she has some serious concerns there. California is paying like $8 a gallon. Nobody else in this country is paying that kind of money. Some people speculate that it could be because of California's policies. It's just such an outlier. I mean, if the national average is like half that of California, it seems like it's a unique problem to California. Can we get the man in charge? Gavin. All right, so Gavin Newsome is on standby, ready to explain it all. And here's the real problem. It's not the policies in California. That's not it. Of course it's not it. Rest assured, it's the greedy oil companies. Let the man explain.
They are taking advantage of you. They're lying to you. And what they do is they manipulate the facts, and they try to play both sides as it relates to opportunities like this to highlight their misdeeds. They immediately say, well, because of the legislation signed, that's why you're burdened with these higher prices in California. That is simply untrue. They are the polluted heart of this climate crisis. They've been lying and deceiving us for decades and decades and decades. And it's finally time to hold big oil accountable.
Yes. Hold big oil accountable for screwing California, as Gavin Newsome said. For decades, they've been screwing us. Now, he's been the governor for a while. I don't want to, undercut the man here. But if they've been screwing you for decades, and you've lived there all that time, you were the mayor of San Francisco, and for like 8 years now you've been the governor, seems like maybe you could have stepped up at some point and said, stop screwing California. I would have done that. I'm just saying if somebody was screwing me and I knew I was being screwed, I would have somehow addressed the elephant in the room. But, hey, look, it's never too late to start fixing the problem. So Gavin Newsome's on it. The oil companies are going to stop screwing California. Stop, for whatever reason, they're charging them double the rest of the country. The argument is just so ridiculous. I'm trying to say it with a straight face. I can't even say his BS with a straight face. That's why he's a professional. The man is a professional politician because he can say complete horse manure, but say it with conviction. Now, William Laganess, Fox News reporter, has a different theory than Gavin Newsom. Perhaps maybe it's not the gas and oil companies are just trying to screw California. Perhaps, in fact, our original theory of its policies being signed in that state that might be affecting the gas prices. What say you, William?
What he does not say is 30 years ago, 95% of California's oil was domestic, both from here and Alaska. Today, however, California gets more than 60% of its oil from overseas, and that makes California more susceptible to disruption. Newsom also ignores taxes and fees, more than double the national average. Last week, Chevron's CEO blamed Newsom.
The lawmakers in California have decided that they don't want critical infrastructure like refineries. They've been working to put us out of business for 20 years.
So maybe there is another side to the story. They've gone from 30 refineries, they're now down to 8. And they're taking 2 more offline this year. So they'll be at 6. And as the report indicated, they've also, because they don't have the refineries, they're bringing most of the oil in from other countries. What they didn't mention in that little segment is if you're a climate activist, right? You're somebody who you believe that it's the oil that is infecting the earth. Well, the ones that you were pumping from California and refining in California, infinitely better for the earth if you're just measuring it by that standard than the stuff you're bringing in from Venezuela and other countries. So it's not you're not helping the environment. You're actually hurting the environment by shutting down your refineries. You're not helping but hurting the gas prices by paying to bring them in. And then you're also, as they said, more susceptible to global conditions than most of us, because most of us are getting our oil from America. But for whatever reason, California decided not to do that. And so, you know what? It seems to me that what we thought was right. Who is that football coach? He said, they are who we thought they were. California is what we thought it was. It is a state obsessed with virtue signaling, and their virtue signaling is a very expensive hobby. And now they're paying whatever they're paying, double the national average at the pump, and we see more and more people leaving California. We see more and more people leaving the West Coast in general. I saw yesterday Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, has decided to leave the Seattle area after like 45 years. He's like relocating to where? Florida. They're all leaving. The people who can afford to get out are getting out, which means that just following the patterns here, Gavin and the liberals on the West Coast are going to start taxing the who's ever left behind even more because we have budgets we got to hit. And, if there's only 1,000 of you here and there used to be a million, well, you 1,000 got to make up what the other 999,000 we're paying. It is, I laugh because I don't live there. If I was living on the West Coast, I would be in hysterics right now. Hopefully, the liberals, if you are a liberal living on the West Coast right now, and you are like, I am very concerned about climate change. I am very concerned about the turtles. I'm very concerned about the ozone. If that is who you are, then what you should be doing is petitioning to get the dang refineries reopened. Get them open. Because that actually helps the environment. But you'd have to see it. That's the problem. They don't even want to see it. It's like they're like ostriches. We put our heads in the sand. We don't see the refineries. Then we're not using the gas. We're better than the rest of y'all. We're driving our electric vehicles, which also need a ton of oil to actually produce the electricity. But don't think about it. You'll feel a lot better.